Stretch out the dreams from my mind. Granny's got the scoop, let's unwind. Birds are chirping, singing their tune. Mystery of the day coming soon. Cup of tea and a buttered scone. Start the day, we're never alone. Good morning, rise and shine. Granny's here with stories so fine. Good morning, off we go. To greet the world with a happy glow.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Grab your coffee, your cappuccino, your espresso, whatever it is you drink in the morning. Let's get started. Today we are going to start out with our spotlight on the missing with Granny. And we have a 17-year-old male, Wesley Eaton. He's been missing since June 5th, last seen in Bay Shore, New York. Wesley is a missing child who is Hispanic and was last seen wearing a green shirt and white shorts. He is believed to be in the local area. If anybody knows where Wesley may be, please call 911 or the Bay Shore, New York Police Department. We need to bring our kids home. All right, so we are going to get started today. We're talking about none other than Luigi Mangione again. If you remember, Luigi was the young man that decided to take the life of the CEO of healthcare himself, Brian Thompson, right? What really saddens me is that people are making him out to be some sort of hero. No, guys, there's no doubt that healthcare in the United States is lacking. No doubt. But it's never okay to take a life, and it's not okay for people to rally behind the person who took a life. That's never okay. And I know that that's, in past videos, I have gotten thumbs down for saying that. But I'm sorry. The answer is not to take lives. It's to watch who we vote for, get the right people in office. It's to, do peaceful protests if necessary. Whatever it is you have to do, write letters to your congressman. There are other ways to handle things that you may feel passionately about. But red rum is never the answer. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen because Luigi left behind a manifesto on purpose. And all credit goes to Law and Crime on the Case with Chris Stewart. Law and Crime seems to be one that I tend to use a lot because they come up with some pretty good stories, guys. The link for this video is in my description for my video below. So here we go.
We have the dozens of pages that prosecutors in New York just filed. They give us an inside look to the mind of Luigi Mangione. They are in his own words and they are handwritten. New York prosecutors filed the more than 8-page document in a response to a request by Mangione's defense to suppress evidence in the trial and even dismiss the state's case altogether. Let's go back to December 4th, 2024. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was in New York for an investor conference. Thompson led the largest health insurance company in the United States. And if you've been following this story, you know what happened just before 7 o'clock that morning in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. Police say a man with a backpack, all dressed in black, walked across the street and executed Thompson by shooting him in the back. The weapon, according to police, a ghost gun, a 3D printed firearm. We'll get into the new facts that we are learning about the hunt for Mangione in just a moment, but the first bombshell in this new document has to do with what happened before Mangione allegedly shot Thompson, because that shooting was not the first time. Prosecutors say that Mangione was physically close to Thompson the night before, around 8 p.m. Prosecutors say that Thompson was walking down a Manhattan street when a man walked by him. The man was talking on a phone, and that man was Luigi Mangione. Mangione had been staying, according to prosecutors, at a hostel since the end of November, and this document suggests that he was waiting for his alleged target to arrive in New York. Less than a week after Thompson was killed, Mangione was arrested at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. There was a customer who spotted him and recognized him from the news. When police arrested Mangione, not only did he have $7,800 in cash and a passport, but he also had a red spiral notebook. Prosecutors say it was a diary, and now we're learning some of what was written in it. On August 15th, more than 3 months before Mangione allegedly killed Brian Thompson, Luigi writes, quote, "I finally feel confident about what I will do. The details are coming together, and I don't feel any doubt about whether it's right/justified. I'm glad, in a way, that I've procrastinated because it allowed me to learn more about UHC." Then let's go to October, where Mangione makes his intentions allegedly clear. Quote, "The investor conference is a true windfall. It embodies everything wrong with our health system, and most importantly, the message becomes self-evident. The problem with most revolutionary acts is that the message is lost on normies. For example, Ted Kaye makes some good points on the future of humanity, but to make his point, he indiscriminately mail bombs innocents. Normies categorize him as an insane serial killer, focus on the act/atrocities themselves, and dismiss his ideas. And most importantly, by committing indiscriminate atrocities, he becomes a monster, which makes his ideas those of a monster, no matter how true. He crosses the line from revolutionary anarchist to terrorist, the worst thing a person can be." Mangione is allegedly referring to Ted Kaczynski, who is known as the Unabomber. He killed.
So what kind of logic is that? So he kind of cuts down Ted Kaczynski because he took innocent people. So his idea is to take the head of United Healthcare and take him down, thinking that his cause is going to matter, that he will not be deemed as a monster. Luigi Mangione, you are a monster. This man had a wife and children. You are a monster. How does he, it goes back to mental health, doesn't it? How does he think that what he did is any better than what Ted Kaczynski did? Or anyone else that takes the lives of other people? That is what's important here. The fact that he red-rummed someone. Never mind healthcare. He took the life of an innocent man. And I know some of you may say, oh, Brian Thompson was not innocent. You know what? He was doing a job. He was being paid to do a job, and he was taking care of his family. Whether you agree with his job or not is not the point. His life was taken much too soon by a man who, yes, probably notably had problems with the healthcare system. There are other ways he could have dealt with it. Let's continue on.
3 people and hurt 23 others by sending explosives in the mail over the span of roughly 20 years. And this isn't the first time that Mangione allegedly looked up to the Unabomber. You might remember in the days after his arrest, it was discovered on the book review site Goodreads that Mangione reportedly once referred to Kaczynski as a revolutionary, which matches up with what he said allegedly in this red spiral notebook diary. Before I get back to this story about Luigi Mangione, let's take a second and talk about something really important, because when you cover true crime, if you watch our content here on Law and Crime, the truth is the one that'll give you 15% off. Get your bracelet, carry it with confidence wherever you go. All right, let's get back to the story. The new filing from prosecutors also shows that Mangione may have allegedly planned to kill Thompson before December 4th, but also allegedly thought about doing something that would hurt more people. In that August diary entry, Mangione wrote, quote, KMD would have been an unjustified catastrophe that would be perceived mostly as sick, but more importantly, unhelpful. Would do nothing to spread awareness, improve people's lives. The target is insurance. It checks every box. At the time of this recording, it's unclear what Mangione meant by KMD.
So, how does he think that by taking the life of Brian Thompson was going to improve people's lives? He hurt the lives of Brian Thompson's children and his wife and his family. Is he spreading awareness? Obviously, I guess he is. Good for him, because he does have people who back him, which for the life of me, I will never understand. We cannot back people who take other people's lives, guys. It's wrong on so many levels. There are other ways to spread awareness if that's what you want to do. I'm going to say it again. Luigi Mangione is a monster.
But in his October post, where he allegedly writes that he's decided to target Brian Thompson, an entry reads, quote, so say you want to rebel against the deadly greed-fueled health insurance cartel. Do you bomb the HQ? No. Bombs equal terrorism. Such actions appear the unjustified anger of someone who simply got sick, had bad luck, and took their frustration out on the insurance industry while recklessly endangering countless employees. Mangione then allegedly continues, whack the CEO at an annual parasitic bean counter convention. It's targeted, precise, and doesn't risk innocence. Prosecutors not only showed the evidence they have related to those handwritten diary entries, they also included what appears to be an alleged handwritten confession to the federal government. That says, quote, to the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly, I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial, some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife or trauma, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. Mangione then allegedly goes on to say that the US has the most expensive healthcare system in the world and is roughly the 42nd ranked country for life expectancy. Prosecutors not only laid out the evidence they had, they also didn't hold back in saying why it matters. In bold letters, they write, the identity of Brian Thompson's assassin is no mystery. And they go on to say, quote, if there were ever an open and shut case pointing to the defendant's guilt, this case is that case. Simply put, one would be hard-pressed to find a case with such overwhelming evidence of guilt as to the identity of the murderer and the premeditated nature of the assassination. Mangione's defense has tried to get the terrorism enhancement on his state murder charge dismissed, but prosecutors point to the definition of terrorism as an act undertaken to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policy of a unit of government by intimidation or coercion, or affect the conduct of a unit of government by murder, assassination, or kidnapping.
The very last thing that Mangione wanted to be known as was a terrorist. He did not want to be known as that. And he's being charged with that. And I agree. I agree 100% because that is exactly what he did. He's trying to influence, an entire population on his ideals, right?
Prosecutors point to the civilian population as being those who work in healthcare. They say people have left their jobs out of fear since Thompson was assassinated. Doctors who are afraid of what happens if they have a patient who gets their claim denied, and people in places like call centers who have received death threats in the wake of Thompson's death. Mangione has pleaded not guilty to state charges as well as the charges he is facing in federal court. Those federal charges include using a firearm to commit murder, which, if he's found guilty, would make him eligible for the death penalty. It's unclear when Mangione could go on trial. Even though Luigi Mangione is an accused murderer, he has received a lot of support, and his arrest has sparked a larger conversation about healthcare in America. And this is an example of the kind of support that Luigi Mangione is receiving. This is the crowdfunding campaign that is raising money for his defense. It now has more than $1 million in donations. Join us now to talk about what this means is Matt Mangione.
So his defense will be paid for. Yay. Then the taxpayers don't have to pay for it. The idiots who gave to that fund, well, they have to answer for that someday. I know this is not going to be a popular stance, but here's my question. How does Luigi Mangione think that he can get away with pleading not guilty when in fact he was seen, number one, and his red spiral notebook and his letter to the feds all expressed exactly what he was going to do? How does he think he's going to get away with that? The evidence is clear. His manifesto tells it all, guys. His manifesto tells it all. As I said, I know many people are not going to like what I had to say in this video. But the truth of the matter is, we have a young man who decided it was up to him to do something about the healthcare system to bring awareness. And instead of, going the political route, instead of writing letters, calling his congressman, making sure that he's voting for the right people to get in, writing letters everywhere that he can to bring awareness, maybe doing peaceful protests, whatever he felt he had to do. No. He took a gun and he took the life of the CEO of United Healthcare, a man who had children and a wife that was left behind and a family. What did that prove? To me, that proved that Luigi Mangione is a monster. To me, that proved that he has some mental health issues that should have been addressed, because red rum should never be your first choice. I want to thank you guys for being here. I'm not going to play the rest of this video today. The link is in my description for my video if you want to watch the rest of it. I want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. Let me know what your thoughts are. All I ask is that you be respectful. Do not show hate. Anyone that shows hate does get blocked from my channel. We're building a hate-free, drama-free channel here. and we would love to have you as part of it. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at grannyscrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.